Bust it.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. Political Platform on Reaper FM. We're also on AIT Abuja and AIT International. Several issues and news breaking in the polity. But before that, my name is Amechi Anapwe. Conflicting reports about the case of abducted. Is it abducted now? Because the security agencies are saying abduction is yet to be established of schoolgirls in government girls secondary school in Dapchi, Yobe State. The officials are saying 46 of them are still missing, down from the number we gave you yesterday, 94 that were unaccounted for. It's yet to be established. The defense spokesperson told our correspondents a while ago whether a case of abduction has been established. But the fact we have is that the school was attacked by the Boko Haram in Dapchi, Yobe State. Out of a student population of 926, 815 have so far been found. Conflicting information from the Yobe State government and indeed the Yobe State Police Commissioner Abdul Malik Sumonu on the number of missing. The government says 111 yet to be accounted for, but the police says the number is 50. So some hazy information coming out from there. How did the attack happen? We shall be speaking with an indigene of the town to help us with the details of the attack on Monday night. And the president yesterday directed the military to indeed move in to take charge of the situation. And we're wondering whether the military should not have been involved much earlier than now. Something that happened on Monday night. Sad development. Chibok is still fresh in our minds. We shall also be speaking with the Bring Back Our Guest campaigners. If a case of abduction is established, then they will have more work on their hands. We shall also be taking you to Zamfara State. The officials there have agreed to speak to us in response to the allegations raised by Senator Kabiru Marafa over the role played by the state government, especially the governor, in the killings that have been going on in that state. We shall be linking up with the Commissioner of Information in that state. Adeba Abodure, my colleague, is joining me. He was just telling me of the latest movie in town just before we came on air. Have you seen that movie, Snake in the Monkey Shadow? Bruce Lee is the actor. That is the movie that is playing out in Nigeria.
Yes, interesting thing, comic side of politics. You know, for the greater part of last week, we are even early this week, we are talking about the snakes, the mysterious snakes, the powerful and spiritual snakes, swallowing 36 million.
In jump office in Mako.
Jump office Mako. And just yesterday in the Senate, before the conflict, the infighting among members of the APC in the upper legislative chamber led to the removal, or is it purported, or is it removal of the chairman of the Northern Senators Forum, Senator Abdullahi Adamu. And one interesting aspect of it was the claim by, or is the allegation by Shehu Sani, another senator, that 70 million naira handed over to them, could they inherited from the 7th Senate, have been swallowed by monkey. So what a better way to describe it. If you have not watched that movie, I ask you to go and look for it. Snake
in the Monkey Shadow.
In the Monkey Shadow.
Bruce Lee, classic music movie. Shehu Sani said it's the main reason why they had to move against Senator Abdullahi Adamu, that he could not account for the some 70 million handed over to him by the person that led that forum in the 7th Senate, Ahmed Lawan, presently the Senate leader. And the explanation, he said, that Abdullahi Adamu gave the Northern Senators was that a monkey or monkeys invaded his farm and made away with the money where it was kept safe. We are yet to hear from Abdullahi Adamu. For me, I feel this is some joke, a form of joke. But the fact that Abdullahi Adamu has not spoken up since then begins to make you believe whether it is true. Very funny times in Nigeria. Ojueje is with us in the studio.
Amechi, I think it has gone beyond funny. It's gone to the level of the ridiculous. The ridiculous. We have become a nation that is used, a nation of mockery, a nation that is used as an example of the ridiculous, even in the larger in the larger society, if you know what I mean. Globally, everywhere, if you look at what the CNN used yesterday, said monkey tail. And so we have become a butt of jokes. How did we sink so low? Whether it is the truth or not, but if you look at the person of Senator Shehu Sani, you know that he's one man who does not believe in jokes or expensive jokes. So somehow, whether it is not exactly that, there must be something very close. Possibly that money is missing, but how is probably what Adamu Abdullahi would have to come out and tell us. But honestly, I think that our leaders are ridiculing this country. The whole world is making fun of us, and it should stop. We have gone to the extent that, see, I don't even know how to describe it. It's painful to me that a country with so much potential, a country made up of highly intelligent people, is being subjected to
Let's
this.
look at the latest fact coming out from Transparency International. I know the International Anti-Corruption Group carries out a yearly ranking of countries on corruption perception index, they call it. In the past, we have not been doing very well. In 2016, we did better. We came down to 136th in the world out of 180, and they just released their figures for 2017, and we lost a lot of grounds, 148 compared to 136 in 2016. So we really need to do more to rid the country of corruption, and of course change the perception that we are not a corrupt reading country, and that we are making efforts to really get rid of the malaise here. Tomorrow on this program, we'll try to establish links with Musa Awaraf Sanjani. We were supposed to speak with him today, but because of the heavy schedule we have, he represents Transparency International in Nigeria. We'll be speaking with him tomorrow for more information on this. But Ijomo Samuel is with us in the studio.
Amechi, I think I saw Senator Abdullahi Adamu talking in one of the television stations yesterday. He actually reacted to that. He said he's surprised at what has happened because he does not know where the story is coming from.
So it's a joke.
to him, it's a joke. And
I want to also believe it's a joke.
It's I see it as a joke anyway, because we still need to interrogate Senator Shehu Sani to give more fact to his claims. Or is he trying to? Because when I read the story yesterday, what I saw in the statement by Senator Shehu Sani is that he's not too sure what happened to their 70 million. He said the man gave a tale, I call that a story, of monkeys raiding his farmhouse, and they made away with it. And so maybe those monkeys are some politicians that we don't see as human beings. That's what
okay, let's take a break. When we come back from the break, okay, now we'll continue with our mails. Let's take a look at some of the mails you have sent to our email platform before we begin to call in some of our respondents to enrich the program.
Welcome to the mail segment. I am Etenikan Akepu.
My name is Chidima Eni. You're welcome.
We begin with a reaction to the monkey swallowing 70 million naira. And Friday at Tahin in Yanya, Abuja, says just when the citizens of Nigeria were trying to come to terms with a snake swallowing a whooping sum of 36 million naira, we are treated to another news making the rounds that monkeys invaded the farm of a 7th senator and made away with 70 million naira belonging to Northern Senators Forum. Are these stories for the gods or tales by moonlight? What pictures are we painting to the outside world of our country? Are our politicians aware that Nigeria and Nigerians are being watched daily in the way they handle the affairs of this nation? What do this crop of politicians take us for? The younger generations are watching and they deserve to be treated well. Therefore, I suggest that all those in public and civil service should be mindful of what they say. All drama and attempts to divert the attention of the public from the current realities of our economy, as well as politicization of issues bordering on corruption, should be stopped. National issues should be treated with utmost decorum.
Monday, Ame in Abuja writes in commendation on the release of the abducted schoolgirls in Yobe State. He says, "Their political platform crew, I wish to use this medium to appreciate God Almighty for the safe release of some of the abducted schoolgirls of Government Girls Secondary Science Technical College, GGSTC, Yobe State, which was attacked by Boko Haram terrorists on Monday. I commend our troops for rising gallantly to the occasion by acting very promptly to rescue the innocent schoolgirls from their abductors, thereby averting another abducted Chibok schoolgirls' unfortunate incident. The news of their release is fantastically cheering and hope-lifting. Kudos to our gallant troops, kudos to our amiable President Muhammadu Buhari, and kudos to Yobe State government for averting what would have become another international embarrassment to our dear country. Furthermore, I call on both federal states, local government areas, and private school proprietors to provide adequate security coverage for their schools in order to nip this ugly incident of abduction and kidnapping of students and pupils in the bud. Finally, in view of the psychological trauma the girls went through, experts should be assembled for their immediate counseling, also for thorough medical examination. Never again shall we witness another abducted schoolgirls scenario in Nigeria or anywhere in the world. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria."
And that will be it for the mail segment. Keep your mails coming. Send them to politicalplatform@yahoo.com.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. Let's start with the situation in Yobe State, still hazy. Let's try to establish link with the Bring Back Our Girls campaigners, the group that has been organizing a daily sit-out in Abuja to continue to bring to the forefront the plights of the girls that were abducted and the need to put pressures on the authorities to ensure their immediate release. I think we have now on the line spokesperson of the Bring Back Our Girls campaigners, Sesu Akume. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
So how did your group receive the news of the abduction or possible, because it's not yet been established, possible abduction of some girls, scores of them in Dapchi Government Girls Secondary School in Yobe?
You've asked the right question and you've framed it in just the right way. How is that an abduction that possibly happened on Monday, as today, Thursday, we're still saying possible abduction, which means it's not yet clear. And this brings us back to what happened in 2014 all over again. So that explains exactly how our movement is feeling.
So you believe that after 4 days, we should have been able to establish whether it was an abduction, the number that were abducted, and the identities?
Exactly.
And we're yet to do that.
So the government is supposed to have confirmed that, yes, indeed, there was an abduction. This is the number of children that were abducted in their school. If it is true that some have been rescued, these are their names, and these are the names of those who are yet to return. And then communicate also that the parents have been contacted, and they too will be given a voice to say, yes, it's true, our children were abducted, but some are back. We're hoping that this is that. And then there are also other questions that arise. How come a terrorist group that was defeated is able to abduct up to 100 school children in their schools? It also raises issues of safe schools and our endangered education and the whole thing, and whether our government and the state indeed can be trusted. And so this is 2014 all over again. It's a very harrowing experience. When on 30th of April we came out to cry out that our Chibok girls be returned, we actually planned for a march for 1 day. Today is 1,395 days of saying one thing. Today, 112 of them are not yet back. And there are so many questions that have not been answered for almost 4 years, in 50 days to be 4 years. And here are we having yet the same thing happening, which means we've not learned anything from
But in the Yobe case, the government issued a statement that it is not that the girls were abducted, but that the teachers helped them to escape. In fact, the teachers also escaped. They scaled walls. Some of them ran to their homes and some ran to some other safe places. So it is not a case of abduction.
It is not a case of abduction. Can we rely on what you're saying now, or can you vouch for what the government
on what the
says?
government said?
That is the problem. Why can't we vouch for what the government says? Because you would notice that at first there were conflicting reports. Some said it was not an abduction, others said this an abduction, and there's a rescue. If there was no abduction, why are we using the word rescue? And so the whole thing is mixed up, and this is part of what we're saying. What does it take to communicate factually and truthfully? And so we're back to 24 all over again, and it is a very harrowing experience. It means for 4 years we have not learned anything. Or maybe perhaps the political class is just the same people, whether it's a different administration or not, the same system that runs Nigeria is still the same because we don't seem to learn anything. It is a very harrowing experience. It's not something we want to think about. We're actually hoping that this was a nightmare and it didn't happen. We're only having a nightmare. But it's clear that it's happening because we're in touch with contacts in Yobe as usual, as we do. We confirm our information on the ground. We don't rely on...
What were you able to confirm?
Or that. Yes, so we're able to confirm that indeed there's a mix-up. The parents that we have been able to establish would say that there is a mix-up. They aren't carried along in knowing what exactly happened, what is going on. And this is the same thing that happened with the Chibok parents, for goodness sake. So the information management itself is not accurate, and there are inconsistencies, and it is a very harrowing experience.
Umos, thank you so much. Sesu Akume, the spokesperson of the Bring Back Our Guest campaigners, for your intervention.
Amechi, he made a point there that we have not learned our lessons even over the last 4 years. And I will tend to agree with him, in line with what I said yesterday, that the authorities should endeavor to be proactive, take measures to avoid a repeat of these incidents. Until we begin to do that, we will still appear very unserious, and that's sad.
We'll return to the Yobe issue. We promise we will be speaking with an indigene of Dapchi to give us the situation on ground. But right now, let's take you to Zamfara State. We have on the line Ali Musa Yawale. He is the commissioner in the government there. If you recall, some days ago on this program, we have Senator Kabiru Marafa, who raised the... Okay. I think the man we have on ground now is the resident of Dapchi, Ali Musa Yawale from Yobe State. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
So what is the situation? Because it appears the security agencies are giving us a different account of what happened on Monday night. You are from that community, Dapchi. What actually happened on that night?
Actually, I'm a journalist based in Damaturu, the Yobe State capital. But we have been following the incidents of the happenings throughout since from Monday to date. Actually, what happened in Dapchi is like a kind of confusion, because when the entire situation happened, there wasn't a kind of good communication between the security agencies and, let's say, journalists or the parents of the abducted children. So this gap created the confusion. And I must tell you that the only person that is forthcoming to the journalist at the time of the incident is the commissioner of police. He's forthcoming always. When you call him, he will give you what is on ground. But you see, at times, journalists also have their way of getting information. We have contact with the parents of the missing girls and guardians of the missing girls.
So what have they been telling you? What have you been picking from them?
Yeah. When the thing happened on a Monday night, as you have just mentioned, in Dapchi, most of the students were helped by their teachers to escape through the night to the surrounding bush and villages. And this thing created a kind of confusion in the town. But on Tuesday, That is a day after the incursion, if I may call it incursion or attack
by the Boko Haram
insurgents.
So we heard that some of them were dressed in military uniform.
Yes. So when they made that incursion, the children or the students rushed into the bushes. Though the information we gathered is that they were helped by their teachers. But in the morning, most of them started returning back. And it was that time that government officials and the security of agencies, of course, army made a kind of reinforcement, even during the incident. And army helicopter was also there. But they could not locate the children because most of them escaped through the bush. And when they started coming back, the government officials and the security made that kind of roll call, and they realized that out of 926 students, about 50 are still missing. And the spokesman of the governor, Alhaji Abdullahi Bego, that is Director Press Affairs to the Governor of Yobe State, Alhaji Abdullahi Bego, has confirmed it yesterday in a statement that 50 are still unaccounted for.
Up to this day.
But luckily enough, in the night, he issued another statement that the security agencies, particularly Army in particular, have succeeded in rescuing some of the students. And I must confirm to you that people in Gaidam yesterday were jubilating when the rescued girls were brought to the town. And the entire town was hailing the military on the effort they did in rescuing the students. But as the spokesperson of the governor said, the rescued students are still in the custody of the Nigerian army. Yes.
So will it mean that all the girls, 926 of them, have now been accounted for?
Well, I can't say so because according to the government, over 50 are still unaccounted for. And they were not specific on the number of students rescued by the Nigerian army. So we don't know how many were rescued and how many are still missing. Are you with me?
Yeah, yes, we are with you. So what's the feeling? Have you been able to, you said you spoke with some of the parents of these students. What have they been telling you? They'll be suffering from trauma and some psychological shocks.
Definitely. Initially, what they were saying is there is a kind of fear and panic that maybe what happened in Chibok has happened in Yobe State again. I mean, in Dapchi, the headquarters. Dapchi is the headquarters of Bursari local government area of Yobe State, and is located 100 kilometers north of Damaturu, the Yobe State capital. So the people are saying that what happened there maybe is the replication of what happened in Chibok, because as of that time, security agencies are not forthcoming to inform the populace of the actual happening. Though there was a statement yesterday, but of course there was that confusion. But information we are gathering now is that parents are hopeful that all of the children or the students abducted were rescued.
So some of the reports we were able to piece together here, as some newspapers and blogs have reported, is that the Boko Haram came with a truck, they dressed in army uniform, a Tata truck, and loaded some of these students into those trucks and drove away. Exactly the same thing that happened in Chibok.
Yes. And though there was a kind of conflicting information initially, because information we have gathered at the night of that day is that most of the students have left. There was nothing like the children were abducted as of that day. And the security were not forthcoming to tell us the exact happening. But after, a day later, we started realizing that, yes, there is something like abduction. And it's true that they were there with a truck. Though some people are saying that they were there to get foodstuffs, but
they appear hungry. Just as they were abducting, they were also ransacking at the food store.
Yes. So that's what happened. Okay. They were there with truck.
We have to thank you so much, Ali Musa Yawale, a journalist based in Damaturu, the capital of Yobe State, who has been keeping tabs with developments in Dapchi. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
You are welcome.
Amechi, I think the challenge here is lack of good communication. If we
information
management. For a very long time, we've been talking about government apparatus trying to manage information. It's not been too good. It's not been too palatable. I think they should work on the information management, especially it's anything that has to do with security issues in Nigeria. Let the people know so that their minds can be at peace. By the time you keep them, like what our colleague just said, if you keep them for a very long time, they'll be worried, and you hear negative information going around.
I suspect that the political repercussions of Boko Haram attacking a secondary school in Yobe State has have not brought out the best in the security agencies and in the government. Look at the way the information was managed. As I speak to you now, if you call we call the defense spokesperson,
he will give you a different
telling
version.
It's yet to be established whether there was an abduction. Different figures coming from the commissioner of police in Yobe State and the state governor. So confusion everywhere. We really
Even
need to
the journalist who spoke with us is still confused.
In a state of
because
confusion.
nobody knows if they just came and carted away foodstuff like the government alleges, or if they carted girls plus foodstuff. It's still not
very
clear.
hazy. Just as the spokesperson of the Bring Back Our Girls group said, 4 days after, nearly 4 days after that incident, we don't even have the facts on our fingertips.
You can imagine the trauma the parents of those girls will be going through.
Unfortunately, we couldn't reach the commissioner of information in Zamfara State. We'll still make efforts to get across to him, and like we promised, we gave you a promise earlier. We'll be speaking with Awa Musa Rafsanjani, representative of the Transparency International in Nigeria, on the recent ranking of Nigeria, global ranking of corrupt countries in the world, and our bad placement here. We'll be evaluating the present anti-corruption campaign, its impact on this ranking and anti-corruption campaign, and how we can indeed get the campaign to be more efficient. On behalf of my colleagues, we'll say good morning once again and have a great day. My name is Amichiano.